What's it like driving a manual transmission in 2025? What do you think? Well, that's it. That's the last of the current generation Toyota Supra. This is called the Track Edition, and it's kind of the greatest hits of the current generation Supra. Although it's not as special as some of us were hoping, there was a lot of talk about potentially getting the S58, so this is the twin turbo version of this engine, or the M version of this engine, and with more hardcore parts and components. But instead, at least in Australia, we just have the Track Edition. Still got the same 3-litre turbo inline 6 BMW unit, 285 kilowatts, 500 Newton meters, and you can get it with an 8-speed ZF automatic or a 6-speed manual transmission as I've got here. It's still an awesome recipe really. Rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, inline 6 turbo, BMW engine, good driving dynamics, BMW driving dynamics actually. This is based on the CLAR platform, like a lot of rear-wheel drive based BMWs. And yeah, wrapped up in a really nice design. I think there's been some criticism against this design, but I think it would have been really hard to come up with a new Supra package. I think it's beautiful. Like, it looks very futuristic, but still awesome and muscular in certain areas. Like, look at the size of those rear haunches. The Track Edition comes with this carbon fiber extended lip spoiler on the back. Also comes with bigger front brakes, red painted calipers. It carries over the standard Pilot Super Sport tyres, measuring 255/35 on the front and then 275/35 on the back. And then underneath, they've made some revisions to the suspension, mainly a new stabiliser bar for the front, reinforcements for the front and rear stabiliser bar, reinforcements for the rear subframe, and some tuning to the camber angles, just to help, just improve that little bit more. The Supra was already a great handling package in my opinion, but yeah, these latest tweaks have just made it the best it can be. The Track Edition also comes with these little aero guards stick out from the front wheel arches and at the back as well. About the only thing I don't like about the design are the fake grills. So you've got one there in the or behind the door, another one in the bonnet here, and then in the front corner as well. That does appear to be an actual intake, and then of course big intakes down below at the front, but yet more fake intakes at the top corners. Now obviously they've put this through the aero tunnel and all that and made sure it gets the best combination of cooling as well as aero efficiency. But yeah, why put grills if it's not actually feeding air? I mean, if they got rid of these on the bonnet, it might just look a little bit bland, a little bit smooth. Same with here, like if they just had that flush or even just a little kink there, it might not have the same impact. But anyway, we'll take this for a drive and just sort of, remember the last of the GR Supra, I guess, in the current generation. As far as I know, the next generation could feature a 4-cylinder hybrid package. So, the hardcore fans might be annoyed that this has a BMW inline 6, but I would prefer that than a 4-cylinder hybrid, I think. I mean, Toyota, like all the other car brands, has to do something in terms of reducing emissions, just sort of government push, I guess the best, sort of easiest way to explain that. But yeah, obviously a new 2JZ would be perfect, but to re-engineer an inline 6, I just can't see Toyota or any manufacturer doing that really. I mean, Mazda has done a new inline 6, but it's mild hybrid. It's got a bit of a clunky gearbox system. You wouldn't want them to sort of tamper with an iconic model like this, whereas at least with BMW driveline, it's going to work. It sounds great, it's got awesome performance and power, and it's actually surprisingly efficient. There's just so much engagement here. You just don't get that with an automatic gearbox. Yeah, the gearbox is, it does have long legs with the 6-speed compared with the 8-speed, but it just means you can use the torque and pull through those gears. Obviously you can get it drifting with 500 Newton meters available from such low RPM going to the rear wheels, but even if you don't want to drift, you can just use that rear wheel drive system to help pivot the car and not necessarily slide, but just as you apply power, the limited slip differential will kind of twist the vehicle, point the nose where you want it to go. On this tighter winding road, you pretty much need second gear and a little bit of third, and that's about it. Otherwise you're just downshifting back again. You do have automatic rev matching, which you can actually turn off if you want to as well. If you want to do a bit of heel and toe. The suspension is probably the biggest standout. It really just absorbs these bumps. Now this is not a good road at all. It's got lots of ripples and little bumps and stuff everywhere. But it's not shaking me around, and most importantly, it's not disturbing the balance and the directional stability of the vehicle. Like, it's allowing me to just focus on getting where I need to go, getting around the corners. Yeah, it just doesn't upset the balance. It is low, and it's, you know, there's not that much suspension travel, so I wouldn't say it's as comfortable as an SUV or a Rolls Royce or something like that, but it's not, yeah, shaking me around. It's not very sharp and sudden. It's catching the bumps sort of progressively, but with excellent dynamics. Yeah, like it pulls so hard from low RPM. That was about 3,000 RPM. I'll just do that again. Second gear, upper hill, 3,000 RPM, full throttle. Just picks up no problem at all. And it rails around corners. It really glues to the ground, actually. It's, to get it to slide, you've actually got to let it know that you want to slide. Otherwise it just grips up. It prefers a kind of racing line style of driving rather than a you know, rally style of driving, but it will slide anyway if you want it to. Yeah, awesome performance. It's a bit of a shame that there's fake sound coming through into the cabin, and I'm pretty sure you can't turn it off. I've looked through all the menus. There's nothing there to, you know, what do you call it, dynamic sounds or whatever. There's no such function. So it'd be great if they could get rid of that, at least for the this final generation, this final last hurrah. But what a machine, really. Awesome power and speed, excellent handling, and actually surprisingly good ride quality. In terms of fuel economy, I'm averaging 10.7 litres per 100 kilometres, which I think is very good for the performance level. This is a relatively lightweight package compared with, you know, some of the modern vehicles, certainly compared with an electric vehicle of this sort of caliber. But yeah, 10.7 in the real world, that's with mixed conditions driving, a bit of highway stuff and a bit of spirited road stuff. That's a respectable figure. Overall, this mixes the best of both worlds, and it's kind of what the original Supra had done. It's a great Grand Tourer, but it's also a great sports car for tight winding roads. Being the track edition though, the best place for it is obviously the track. Well, here's a track somebody prepared earlier. It's Winton Raceway. I'm actually here as part of the Hyundai N Festival, and they've got a new theme this year called Envy, where Hyundai N owners can bring their mates just to see how the whole festival works. We'll do a couple of laps in the Supra and see how it goes. Although the 6-speed manual does have pretty long legs on the road, on the track here it's actually just fine. It feels punchy. You can leave it in third gear if you want to for a lot of these corners, or you can shift back to second and get more of a punchy exit. The limited slip differential works perfectly. It never lets away inside wheel spin, and of course you can provoke drifting and oversteer with your right foot. Awesome power and speed down the main straight. It just keeps pulling and pulling. Excellent stopping power from these new brakes as well. I did about 8 laps on the track and they didn't show any sign of fade or pedal dropping or anything like that. They just pulled up perfectly the entire session. There we go. Look, I'm a bit sad that this is exiting the market because there's nothing else like this on the market. Manual transmission, inline 6 turbo. That's just a dream package for me anyway. V8s are awesome, but they're not going to be around much longer either. I feel like inline 6s should be able to hang around just that little bit longer because they're just that little bit more efficient. Let's go out now and do the performance testing and see what it goes like. I'm not expecting any different result compared with previous GR Supra manuals that I've tested. As I said, it's pretty much the same thing in terms of the fundamentals and the hardware and the traction and all of that. It should be pretty similar.